And I've had to come to a lot of realizations and once I did, it helped me level up in a sense. And you who's watching this, any of these areas that we talked about, like religion leveling up, leveling up in your finances and relationships, in your feelings, any of the other topics in community, like this is your life. Like where is it missing? The area that you want to level up in, how can you transcend and really take it on? Because I promise you it's possible. So then should we talk about leveling up in nutrition?
Sure.
All right.
Let's go.
Leveling up nutrition, that's my game. That's my ABC. So the thing is, I started off eating more unhealthy than every single person watching this. Okay. I can guarantee that. All right. Well, I'll just give you an example. I would eat donuts in the morning with whole milk. Never mind the low fat milk. I want the red stuff. Reese's Puffs with whole milk. 8 grilled cheeses, literally, with like a white Italian bread with cheese, like not even like, and no side dish, nothing like that. And for supper, I'd have like a plain piece of like fatty beef with onion soup mix. Like, God forbid there was real spices. No, it had to be the chemical spice. And I probably have that with like iced tea or something like that, with like the ones that were, you add the water and then you take the heaps of sugar and you pour it in. And I wouldn't do like just a little amount. I had to get like a full thing in there. So just to give you an idea, but I leveled up. I leveled up when I saw the truth, when I saw, hey, eating healthy is huge in many factors. One, in your longevity, like end-term longevity, not like you'll make it a week, like you'll live longer as a whole, like you'll live to 100 or 95, like endpoints. So that's very important. Also, when you're training, you'll have more energy, right? You can have the type of energy that me and Carla have, and a lot of you guys watching. You can free yourself up from a degree of allergies or asthma. Like I did. I had terrible allergies and asthma, and I still have them to a degree, but it's less so when I cut out a lot of dairy. I know that's another controversial thing, but I'm just gonna throw that out there. And then also when it comes to weight loss, like you eat healthy, you can lose tons of weight. Like that's awesome. You'll get to your ideal weight and let your body self-regulate. And just to not get into it too much, because we did it in another podcast, but hey, whole foods, plant-based, I think is killer. I know Carla and I differ a little bit with this, but I would do like a little bit of animal products, not too many, and just pound those plants, baby.
I think that's the thing. The veggies, you got to eat your veggies, right? A lot of people eat fruit. They'll have their bananas and their apples and their grapes and whatever, but because it's sweet and it's tasty, but it's like, I don't really want to eat carrot sticks and celery and broccoli. But yeah, figure out how to make it good and eat it. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually I have a WhatsApp group for clients, and it's called like Savages. And what we do, we're like gorillas, so to speak. We're eating like plants. We're eating like raw cilantro and raw mint and bushels of basil. It's like you got to be like a gorilla about it. You got to be exciting about it. It's not boring to eat these stuff. These are primal stuff we've been eating for thousands of years. And nuts, seeds, legumes, whole grains, water. This stuff is exciting.
It's like, I think it would be especially exciting instead of having a plate and a fork, like put it in a trough. Do you know what I'm saying? Hands behind your head and like munch it down. Then I could get into that, I think. Yeah.
You get into that. You didn't sell me on that, but it's good to know that'll work.
Okay, how else can we level up, Shimon? What else do you want to share with us?
Okay, so I was also thinking about finances, business, investing, like leveling up. So the thing is, a lot of times like people say that like you have to have a ton of money in order to start my business or whatever. Like I'd be able to do what I wanted to do if I had a lot of money, a lot of backing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of companies, a lot of good companies, I'm actually curious to hear about yours, but like, let's say mine or people's that are much bigger than mine, they started with nothing, like $100. So the key is two things. One is that can you just start your product or your business or your service without much capital, see if it sells, and then when it sells, then start leveling it up. So let's say with training, when I started back in New Jersey, I had a couple weights, I had a yoga mat. I brought it to a client, worked him out. He had a great workout. It wasn't the fanciest thing or the best gear, but hey, he had a great workout. So it's like, oh, okay, I could make a little money there. Okay, get another client. And like, oh, I got a couple clients. Okay, now I'll buy some more gear. And then it's like, and then I get a few more. And then I keep leveling up like that. You don't have to go 0 to 100 right away. And the second thing is keep doing ideas until something sticks. Like a lot of times, I can say from my own experience, but I'm sure other people feel the same. You try something, it doesn't work out. But don't stop there. Most people stop right there. You got to try the next thing. That doesn't work. You try something else. That sticks. Then you stick with that. Then you try something that doesn't work, etc. And then you keep going until you get enough stuff that sticks. Don't give up. That's the way it works. Don't be dismayed because not every of your ideas, was a rainbow parted or something like that.
Yeah, that's so true. You just got to keep going. And you can, I think when you don't have a lot, if you don't have resources, you get resourceful. If you have the resources, you can get lazy. Oh, I'll just, take another loan out at the bank, or I'll borrow money from this guy or whatever. It's like, no, if you don't have it, you're going to figure it out. And I think that's when it gets really gritty. And that's when you really have to be creative. And, because it really hurts if you're not, yeah, that's good. Good
It's
points.
actually, it's actually a great point that you've made, because it's like a blessing to be born poor. Or if you weren't born poor, like for me, my parents, thank God, were both doctors. They were very industrious. They provided for us. But I had a period of life where I moved out and I lived straight up in the ghetto, and I had $50 a week for food. And it was like a terrible rundown apartment in a dangerous area. And, I learned there, like, oh my God, I need a hustle. Like I got a grind mindset. And when I tried and I met with failure again and again and again, it made this tremendous drive within me that's like unquenchable. And I know you have that drive too. I don't know exactly where it came from, but you got it for sure. So it's like, it's a blessing to have difficulty. If you were handed everything and you never had to struggle, you're going to slowly get soft. I mean, you're not going to make it.
Yeah,
So
I actually, I jump into struggle now. Like if I'm not struggling, I'm like, okay, I got to level up. It's time. It's time. If everything's comfortable and easy, like, no, I'm not happy. It's got to be a struggle. There's got to be an obstacle. There's got to be something that's really, really hard that I have to overcome, kind of like climbing that mountain, right? Like, it starts to level up. Okay, let's make it steeper. Now that's comfortable. Let's make it steeper. Do you know what I mean? And so that's where I'm at now. I'm chasing, I don't know, maybe it's almost like adrenaline rush. I don't know. It's like a drug, right? But I'm chasing the struggle. I'm chasing the struggle because I know when I get through that struggle, I'm going to be at that next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of like you like beyond that difficulty that you're going with, the harder it is, the bigger the peak is of where you're about to go.
Yes.
Like that works. So like if you're struggling or you went through something, that's literally like a new platform that you're going to be able to raise your life to or from. Mm-hmm. So just celebrate it. And that I can really speak to that. And any difficulty that you're going through, it's just going to turn into success later.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where you got to look at it. So when you go through the difficulty, you don't get in despair. You just say, let's go. I'm here for this. Okay, what's your next point, Shimon?
Okay, so also what I'd say is about feelings, leveling up your feelings. Okay, so a lot of your viewers, a lot of people these days may be struggling with their feelings, right? Especially nowadays where it's in vogue to constantly talk about our feelings and everything like that. And I know, and this also feeds into depression. It's like people say like, oh, it's against the culture to talk about your feelings or talk about depression. No, it's not. It's the culture is talking about your feelings and depression. To not do that is actually counterculture. I know that might be surprising, but think about that. That's pretty much all we talk about when we're speaking is all our feelings. So what I would say is shift to something else, and you have to see something for yourself here, okay? But I'm gonna say what I've seen. I hope you can see something here. What are you committed to? That's that's a great thing to focus on. What am I committed to for my health? Oh, that's simple. I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. What am I committed to for my finances? Well, that I personally, I'm just saying for myself, that I got a mansion and I drive a fancy car. I want a muscle car. That's what I want. So what are you committed to for your finance? What are you committed to for your parents? Let's say, you want to have a better relationship with them. What are you committed to for your family, for your kids? Versus what do I feel like? Because what you feel like is like this road that kind of leads down into the left, right? So if you follow your feelings, man, if I followed my feelings, I would wake up late. I would probably not show up to most of my clients. I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably eat donuts and watch TV.
And Reese Puffs.
Reese's Puffs. Like, why is that the ultimate honor in Western society? No. What are you committed to? And I promise your feelings will follow. Your feelings will follow. And if one day you don't wake up happy, whoop-de-doo, who cares? Just still do what you're going to do. And I promise you'll get that happy feeling you're hoping for.
Yeah. And I want to say something too. Like, I think too often we're trying to fit in, Shimon. Like we're trying to, okay, well, what is everybody else doing? Oh, they're all talking about their feelings. Let's talk about our feelings. Everybody's into, I don't know, whatever they're into, maybe veganism, or they're into like gluten-free or whatever the heck they're into. It's like, okay, well, you know what? Instead of trying to be super different or trying to be super the same, why don't you look and see what's optimal for you? And I think that's what you've done, Shimon, right? Like the way you eat is not, it was probably very difficult at first because this vegan stuff, right? And I mean, you do have some meat, thank God, but, it's different, right? And it's not because it's a trend. It's because you think that that's going to be optimal for you. And I think we all have to think, logically and like what's going to work the best for us. How are we going to optimize our life, our relationships, our fitness, our health, whatever it is, our business? That's what we got to go for, not what is everybody else doing? What is everybody else talking about? What is everybody else thinking about? What do I have to do? Who do I have to be? And that's why it drives me nuts, Shimon, is when people, and I mean, I'm just being like super candid, like I'm not trying to attack anybody or judge anybody here, but the thing is like, people tell me I could never homeschool my kids. Okay, there's a limiting belief right now. It's going to shut you down from that possibility if you ever had it. I could never get up early. Come on, I could never eat like a vegan. I could never, whatever it is, right? It's like, don't limit yourself. Get those ideas out of your head. And I really say, don't ever say never, because that might be the one thing that gets you to where you need to go. You know how many people they train with me? They get up early. They never did it before. They show up to a class early and they're like, oh my goodness, they're sold. They're in it for the rest of their lives and they stay fit. You know what I mean? So you never know what it could be that's going to level you up. So don't limit yourself by these ideas, these limiting beliefs that you have that you can't do this or you can't do that.
Wow. So first of all, I want to say thank you, because I just got from you that I can wake up early. I always had this thing that I'm a night person only, and just that straight talk that you gave me, I think I'm going to start waking up early.
There you go.
So no, for real. So two things also, like just as a separate point, like as trainers for us to know, but also anybody watching this is a coach to somebody and is definitely influencing people. So we can, like, and this speaks to the general point, like person can only change if they see what's possible for themselves within something. So we could say like, be this, be that, or whatever. But when you spoke, I saw something that's possible for myself in waking up early. Oh, what would it be like if I would wake up early feeling fresh? I'd probably be able to train clients early in the morning. I'd probably have a totally different head start to the day. I'd probably get my chemicals, like you mentioned, more in balance. Like I saw something for myself. So we as coaches and people around us, everybody's looking to change everybody. You have to make sure that somebody sees, or us has to see something for ourselves in what's being offered or something like that. And a second thing is that, because in other words, they can't be told. It's a self-discovery. Mm-hmm. The second thing is that as trainers, we have to talk to their bigness. Like a person can only rise to the level that we're talking to them to. So it's very easy when we talk to each other that we talk to each other big. Like I have a huge opinion of you. And so it's very easy to be like, for you to rise up to whatever I'm saying. And when you say something to me, the same thing, I can rise up to what you're saying. So that's super important and it's hard because I definitely, when I was less developed as a trainer, I didn't see everybody as super big. I saw some people as I talked to them at a smaller level, and then they can only rise up to that. So it's our responsibility as trainers and anybody to make sure we're talking to the bigness we see in people.
That's so true. And I think that's like, people have noticed that I tend to push them. I tend to help them to level up. I think that's what it is, Shimon, because when I see people, I right away see their potential. I'm like, oh my goodness, they're so good at this. They're so good. I could see them doing this. Like, and I tell my kids that I'm like, you have so much potential. Look at you. Look what you can do. And they're like, whoa, and I'm like, and so right away I set the bar, like, you are, you're incredible. Let's get you to what your potential is, right? Rather than saying, well, your potential kind of sucks. We're going to try to push you over that. It's like, no, we all have a big potential. But again, it's our thoughts. It's our mindset, right? It's how we show up.
Wow. Yeah, 100%. Are you cool if I hit up another topic, when like community or religiosity?
Let's go. Yeah.
So religiosity, let's hit first. So religiosity is leveling up in terms of religion, right? So I'm Jewish, you're Christian. That's wonderful. It's all good, and it's still applicable. So the thing is that I can speak from personal experience. I was raised super religious, super strict, Orthodox Judaism. And like, just to give you an example, like we weren't allowed to talk to the girls growing up. We weren't allowed to listen to music that wasn't Jewish. We weren't allowed to do a lot of the things that a lot of people consider normal. But in that society, community, it was not. It was frowned upon. And I took that to mean that's all that mattered. And my dad didn't love me, and blah blah blah, and the community judged me, all type of stuff. And there's I'm sure there's kernels of truth to different stuff, not the dad part, but the other stuff. But it was my interpretation, and then through self-development seminars that I went to, I'll just give a shout out to Landmark, that I learned that actually, like, let's say my dad, that was the most important thing to him, because like religion, I mean, that's a pretty darn important thing, right? So he wanted to give that over to us, and maybe the way he did it didn't really speak to me, but he didn't. It wasn't like a negative way that I interpreted it. So what I got present to is that I actually, and because I pulled away from religion for a time, not like it completely, but in degrees. So I got present to is that no, I love religion. I love Judaism. I love going to synagogue. I love learning. I got a book right here. I want to quote to you from. I don't know, it's not coming up on the screen. Darn. I want to quote to you something from that I learned with one-on-one with a rabbi. I go to group sessions with learning. I'm in a community that's Orthodox, and I realized that I leveled up the religion. And I know with you, you had a beautiful story with religion for you, and it's such an integral part of who you are. And I think that, especially in today's society, we kind of throw it out the window instead of getting complete on some things around it, and then really seeing it for, maybe we are all about it.
Yeah. No, I think it's good, and I think it's good to see, like, okay, yeah, what does religion do for me? What is this? What is this about? And what's the truth? I mean, ultimately, like you and I are always discussing what's the truth, because you have your opinions, I have my opinion, Old Testament, New Testament, who's Jesus, whatever, right? And I think it's good, like, to have those discussions, to be a little bit open-minded, and to really look for the truth, right? Like, I want to know the truth. I don't want to, I don't want to just, that's why I think we have to be careful of. Maybe this is a whole other tangent, but sometimes it's like, what works for me? What do I like? Well, you know what? Maybe it's not about what you like, because what is the actual truth, right? Like if you tell someone, well, I don't want that wall to be there. I want the wall to be further because I want to run. Well, you know what? The wall is there. That's the truth. You're going to hit that wall and you're going to go down hard. So whether you want that wall there or not, that's the truth. That's what's going on, right? So anyways, just something that I wanted to throw at you.
No, that's a great point, because actually I had it when I'm coming closer to Judaism. I had it that, okay, certain things I'm really into, like learning, the Jewish books, doing prayer, various other things, but some things around the Sabbath, like I got good with 90%, but not all of it. And then I realized that actually they're standing in the way of some other things that I want. So it's kind of having to come to terms with, hey, it's there for a reason. And I don't know if it's I'm 100%, 100% on everything, but I'm coming to see it more and more that there's value beyond what I thought, even though I thought that I had it right. So that's just something interesting.
Yeah, well, even for me too, like so much of the legalism and as like just trying to throw all that out and really find, okay, what does the Bible actually say, rather than what did my, your priest or pastor tell me, what did my parents, like, what does it actually say? And just strip it all away, peel back the layers of the onion, and what is the essence of what it's saying? I think that's important in everything in life, but particularly when you're looking at religion, we're looking at things like the Bible, you need to know what that is.
Yeah, and I think to your point, like, it's worth trying it on. Just try it on in its totality, and just see what that experience is like. A lot of us, all across life, we prejudge something with only getting a sample of it, or sometimes no experience at all, and that's rough, because that's not true, right? It's like you're not going to get the experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to be careful about just totally throwing out the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing. Like, oh, there's something bad in that. Okay, I'm not even going to look at it. I'm not going to touch it. It's like, well, you need to be a little more open-minded than that, and at least to understand where other people are coming from.
Yeah. One more thing I'd like to say about community and friends, like friend group in terms of leveling up, ascending, is like a lot of us, like, and I've been there, where we're just friends with whoever we meet, whatever it is, what it is. You're in my life. Okay, I'm friends with you. You're left. Okay, I'm not friends with you anymore. But the problem with that is that it'll leave you surrounded by necessarily, not that anybody's, I'm not saying that they're bad, but I'm just saying that you want to kind of curate your reality to where you want to go and to what you want to influence. Like, if I'm around people that got my back no matter what, then I'm going to grow. Like, that's just a fact. So I want to pick people that have got my back, and I want to make sure I can offer value to other people so that they want somebody like me, so I can benefit from them, they can benefit from me. It's so important. And especially when it comes to, let's say, marriage or community, you want to have community. Nowadays, a lot of society is so intermingled. I think you guys have a community in Alberta, right? You guys got a strong.
Oh yeah, in certain parts, absolutely, yeah.
Certain parts, but in America nowadays, like, community is almost destroyed, and there isn't a sense of belonging, and you want to have groups of people around you that believe what you do and back you up. And I'm not talking about isolationism where you can't steal new ideas, but if it's so intermingled, you have no sense of self, new ideas are not going to get in anyway. You're going to be so full of new ideas. You're not even going to have center. So I think it's important to find friends that back you up, find friends that are motivated, that are not constantly depressed or whatever. And I'm not trying to say get rid of like drop them out. Like I've been there, you've been there, people have been there, but the point is like get people that are moving up, that are trying to be successful, let's say, that are good people, that have good morals. Make sure you hang around friends as a married couple that have good morals. So, people aren't trying to, subtly hit on each other, or they're not trying to, it's just like you're out with your buddies, let's say, and he's trying to take, shots at your girlfriend or stuff like that. You don't want to back yourself up with that. You want to make sure that you have a community that supports you, that supports your religion, so your values have a place to land, so your kids have a place to grow up in where they have some similar people, ensconced in that kind of way. I didn't realize it when I was younger, but it's super important.
Yeah, I think you need to pick your friends. You can't pick your family, but you can pick your friends. Yeah. Any other points, Shimon? We should probably wrap up pretty soon, but what else did you want to touch on? Or did we cover it all?
I think we got it all. Oh, there's one more. It's a juicy one.
Okay, let's go.
I'm going to go through leveling up for masculine and feminine, but I need you to fill in on the feminine for me.
Okay.
Because I only know that a little bit. So the masculine, like leveling up, and this is something that I've learned along the way. And relationship is a great place to learn it. It's like getting put through like the the Spartan race course of learning for about masculinity, etc. So what I learned is a bunch of stuff. So men want 3 things from women. Okay. Number 1, they want respect or admiration. They want loyalty, and then they want looks. They want to be attracted to their wife. And people can argue about that, whatever they want to do. They can say all these type of new age, horse crap or whatever. But the fact is, that's what guys want. So if you're going to give them what they want, they're going to be happy. If you're not going to give them what they want, they're not. Eventually, there's going to be problems, if not right away. Those are the 3 things that they're really interested in. Now, as a man, it's important to be worthy of respect, admiration. And how do you do that? Well, you do that by getting on your grind. You got to work hard. And I was lazy back in the day, but I totally transformed that. So you got to be willing to work hard. You have to have a friend group. You have to have people that respect you, and you respect other people. You have to offer value to people and have people offer value to you. And don't worry if you're not there. You literally could ascend there. That's what this is about. But this is just the straight up truth. And then also another thing is you have to be able to provide security, provide protection, right? For your girl, for your wife, for whoever, even your friend group. Like you have to be capable of violence, so to speak. That doesn't mean you're a bad person, but you have to be able to, if the situation needs it, that you could step up. You want to talk about any of that? There's more points to be made.
Oh, there's so much I could say. Oh man, did you have points about femininity, or you want me to fill in all those gaps?
Sure. So actually, okay, so I'll first finish up the masculine. So another thing is that you got to model for your kids or for people around you. And it's so important to have that father figure, that male figure in life. I know like Western society, I don't know if it's by you in Alberta, probably not, but maybe in the rest of Canada, they kind of devalue the male figure. They say misogynist, they say blah, 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 all these things like, oh, a male oppression is the problem of the whole world, all that crap. People need a father figure. They need somebody who's strong, who's powerful. And it doesn't mean that they're always present, tending to the kids, doing everybody's, whim. No, they go out in the world and they conquer. They're an adventurer. They can go away for a period and then come back and, oh, dad's home. The dynamic has shifted. There's something to that. We need that. I personally experienced with my grandfather, whenever we were out with my grandfather, I was like, oh, we're covered. Like, this guy's going to take us. He's going to get us steaks. Nobody's going to mess with us when we're with this guy. This guy's a monster. And that gave a great sense of security to us and let us blossom and evolve. And also to provide discipline, like that's high value to kids, right? I hate to say it, but when the male figure is not around, the discipline in the kids becomes really poor. And I'm not. There's no blame here. There's no whatever. I'm just saying, they offer value. And a lot of the time, if you look at a lot of the youngsters, they got no discipline. They can't grind. They can't work hard. They don't know what they're up to. They can't control their emotions and chase their goals. They act outside the law in like a negative way. There's some times where you have to. But overall, you want to not be robbing, shooting, killing people. Like it's important. And that's just a quick snippet of that. And the thing is, you get a lot of like males nowadays who don't know that, and then over time they lose the respect of the women, let's say, and then they no longer are satisfied either, and then they leave, right? So the thing is, and so you end up with two unhappy parties. So you got to really, really make sure to step into that. And you might upset some stuff. You might cause some chaos, but hey, it's a battle you're already losing. So I'd say step up.
That's such a good point. And the whole thing about masculinity, I mean, I could say so much about that, not because I have, personal experience, but I have 5 boys. I have a husband. I have a dad. I have 3 brothers. Like, I get it. And I think this whole idea, like this toxic masculinity, is the biggest load of BS that I've ever heard. It's such a bunch of crap. Okay, sure, the guys had the vote initially. Sure, but that was part of the culture too, right? The women stayed home with the kids. They didn't always know what was going on out in the world. I think when the women got the vote, I think that was great. Get the vote. Now, like, go out and do stuff, and things have changed a lot. But I think that it's the roles, right? What exactly is a woman's role? What exactly is a man's role? What does that look like when you're single? What does that look like when you're married? How do you, and I think, it comes down to love, it comes down to respect, it comes down to just, like, what drives me nuts, Shimon, and like, now I'm venting, but like, when people say things like, oh, it's the man's fault, or, or I'm a poor woman, I'm a victim, right? Or I'm a specific race, I'm a victim. You know what? The victim mentality hasn't done any good for anybody. The surefire way to make sure that you're not successful in life is to play the victim. So if you want to be successful in life, if you want to level up, the first thing you got to do is ditch any victim mentality. I'm too poor. I grew up in a bad neighborhood. I'm a woman. I'm from a certain country. I'm whatever. Get rid of that. That's just going to become an excuse for you, and it's going to hold you down. And so I think that's a big thing that I would say. And this idea that, oh, men are bad. No, there's a few jerks in the world. Absolutely. There's a few guys that they should not be out of jail. And there's a few women that should not be out of jail. This is how it is. There's racism. There's all kinds of stuff going on. But it's not a certain type of person. It's just certain people. And I just think that's such a no-brainer to me. It's such a common sense point, right? You can't just lump they're all bad. Like, like say if you get bit by a dog. Okay, all dogs are terrible. We're never going to get a dog, right? Like, it's not how it works,
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you got the dog around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So, and also it's a lot of people, sorry to say this, a lot of women will blame men for the relationship going bad, and hey, maybe it was their fault. But 80% of women, I believe, are the homewreckers, right? They are asking for the divorce, right? So you have to understand, like, society tells men not to step into their masculinity because that's some sort of negative thing. They shouldn't be who they are, and then also like women lose respect for them for that, and also they can kind of like sort of peck at their confidence through, let's say, passive aggressive comments, not backing them up, not being not showing loyalty, around friends or whatever, and they slowly lose their confidence, and then they step out of themselves, and then the woman steps out. So you have to really wonder, if that conversation, if that highway is really one you want to go down, or if you want to step up and put an end to that. So let's just switch to femininity real quick, and I'll say my little piece about it, and then I really want to hear. So I got a couple of things. So like for femininity leveling up, I was thinking like giving respect and admiration, stepping into your femininity, it will like light up a man, and being family oriented, and creating peace and calm. Like a guy's out there in the world, he's trying to do stuff, he's trying to conquer. He's like my job is tough. I got to work with clients that are let's say dealing with a lot. They trying to even get clients, trying to go against, let's say, the cultural norm where I live, which is to be overweight and not be fit and not value it. And to make that happen, like, I want to come home to peace and quiet. I don't want to come home to an argument. I don't want to come up to contention. But people say, oh, I want to challenge my man. No, he needs peace and quiet. He's going to love you for it. He's going to take care of you. He's going to make sure finances are good. He's going to take you out. He's going to make you feel special. He's going to protect you. And I'm curious more of the stuff that women want. But no, that whole societal drift of women like trying to take on the same traits that men have that they're telling them not to do is not what a guy wants.
Yeah, like I think there's so many things that could be said here, Shimon, because I agree with what you're saying. So the typical role where the woman is at home, let's say with the kids, and the man is out in the world, then yes. I mean, And I was always trying to be the model wife, okay? So I'm not the model wife, but I was trying to be the model wife. So when my hubby came home, the house was clean, the kids were, well rested, whatever, the meal was on. So he would come through the door, and that's kind of how it was because I was home. Who else is going to make supper? If I'm home all day, of course I'm going to make supper, right? So that was kind of a big thing for me. But I think when things shifted where I'm out in the world more and I'm doing stuff, I also want peace and calm. So when I come in the house, I don't necessarily want to say, oh, quick, we got to go do this with the cows and we got to, run. It's like, I just need a little bit of peace. Just give me a moment, like let me at least have like a bite of something, like I need some food. I need to relax. So I think it's like depending on what the role is, but I think to just try to have peace and not go out of your way to be a pain, like you don't need to be picking at, like we all know our flaws, right? I think it's when you build each other up. And I think that's true of men or women. You build them up. And I think too, like we talked about men want respect. I think women want respect too, but I think they really want love, like unconditional love, like knowing no matter what I do, no matter how I look, no matter whatever, like you love me the way I am. And then I think also security, whether that's safety, whether that's being provided for financially, whatever, just knowing that, my husband's here, whatever, and he's not going anywhere and he'll be here for me. I used to have this thought that somehow he was going to leave. Go ahead.
Sorry, can you hold that? Because I don't want to forget that you mentioned something really interesting. I want to actually kind of challenge you on this, and I'm curious. So you mentioned that women want a man, because I asked you what's the core things that a woman wants. So you said that you want a man should love who he's with, whatever, no matter what, even if they kind of put on a lot of weight or they don't look good anymore or whatever. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but I'm just saying taking it to the extreme. Okay, so is that realistic though? Because one of the three things three things that men want is respect, loyalty, and like they want to be attractive, they want them to look good. Is that fair to say take one of those core things away and say, hey, I'm not talking about short term. Like, of course, stuff happens, pregnancy, of course, or an accident or God knows what. But is it a fair thing to take away one of the principles? Because let me flip it on you. One of the core things that a woman wants is security, right? Or they want financial stability. What if a dude stops working for a long time, 10 years, 5 years? Or what if he's so weak, he can't protect her for a long time? Not just because he got bit by a copperhead or whatever, or because he got hit by a car or whatever happened, or he got shot, is that fair to say, hey, you should still respect me and admire me and stick with me no matter what forever?
Well, I think that in an ideal situation, you need to stick together regardless. But I think you're making it awfully hard. Like you know what I mean? Like these women, yeah, I mean, there's so much that it could be said. But yes, I think that maybe this is wrong, but I'm going to say it anyways. So if you're married, I think you almost need to act to your partner as if you're not, as if they could leave you at any time. If they could leave you at any time, you would behave differently, wouldn't you? You wouldn't be miserable. You'd probably keep yourself fit, right? There would be certain things that you would do. But I think sometimes once you're married, you're like, oh, I'm good, I'm good. Like, I could do whatever I want now and he'll still love me and he's not going to leave me, right? So there's that idea. I don't know, like, what do you think about that?
That's a great question. So it's definitely like there should be a degree of complacency so that you don't feel on edge and you feel secure in the relationship. But over complacency where you're not like offering value, like you're asking for 100% and not giving 100%. Like that's not so good. You know what I mean? Long term, short term, it's fine. You got to be there for people no matter what. But I think it's so important, especially in a religious marriage. Like, man, we're in this for the long haul. So let's put in our all. Like, we're not playing games here. We're connecting on like a cosmic level, and we're having, people are trying to have kids, trying to raise a family, be the best you can. Yeah. Like make sure you hit all the pillars a person really needs. Mm-hmm. I don't see why I don't see why it's necessary to not do those things. Like,
yeah. And I think the longer you're married, the more you need to always be like, yeah, do you need to go to a conference? Do you need to read a book? Do you need to have a conversation with somebody? You know what I mean? Like, how do you continue to keep that going? Because, it can start to kind of fade. So you have to be vigilant about making sure that it doesn't fade, right? And I think that when you have that like security and you think that, oh, they're not going anywhere no matter what I do, that's nice to have that security, but at the end of the day, are you showing up in the way that you should? And I think when it comes to, maybe open a big can of worms, but I think when it comes to the way that you look, you should be at least making some effort to be attractive to your partner. And I think that's part of your duty. Also, I think it's part of your duty on both persons to try to be nice, to be sweet, to flirt, to do those things, right? Instead of just being like, oh yeah, this is just old hat. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, it's super important to get to what people really want, not necessarily what they say they want. Because a lot of times people say, like, oh, I want him to be thoughtful. I want him to be able to express his feelings. I want him to be in touch with his feminine side, all that type of stuff. That's like the politically correct answer. But what they really want, what they really go for is not that. So that's also super, super important. And, that's a whole rabbit hole we can go down. But actually, I'm curious. So what were the main things that, let's say, a female wants, a woman wants in a relationship? I know you mentioned it in part, but.
Yeah, so love, I'd say unconditional love and security. So that means safety, knowing that, that he's there. I'm trying to think of another one like this. You're just throwing it at me. I'll probably think of it later. What would you say as a third one? What do you think would be good? I think it's important also for the guy to be attractive to some degree, or at least to be interested. Maybe that's it. To give attention, to that you feel like you're admired. Maybe that you feel beautiful. Okay. I don't know.
Okay,
what do you think?
Okay, so I just thought of it on the spot. This is not politically correct, but this is what I'm going to say. What women want in a man. Okay, I think that they want somebody who's high value. That means that he is successful. That he has options. They might not say it that they want it, but the truth is, the best way, the most attraction is to know that your man, like he could have got other people. And it doesn't mean he chooses it, but just to know that he could have is like, oh, that's interesting. That I think that's who women really, really go after. But if you're talking about like what does a woman need? I'm not an expert on this, but I would, security, love and affection, respect. Like she has to actually admire the man that she's with in order to, like, he has to be worthy of respect. Is what I mean. That's on him to cause that. Security, like you mentioned, financial stability. And for men, it's not necessarily looks. Like looks help, being fit and healthy helps, but I think it's more of like a high value thing, like a successful thing, like a status thing. I think from a social perspective, I think that.
Yeah, like if you're not big enough and strong enough to protect me from the bad guy, do you at least have the money to buy a gun so you can take him out? You know what I mean? Like, are you going to protect me and give me that security in one way or another, whether it's security financially or security because you're big and strong or security because you can create things, and provide a home because you built it with your own hands, like whatever it is, that you're kind of looked after, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I didn't do any homework or research on this. I'm just spouting it off, but this is what I kind of think. Okay.
Yeah, this also was a rabbit hole for me. I didn't really plan that part too much.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's good. It's good. So anything else about leveling up? I mean, we covered what? We covered religion, fitness, nutrition. We covered what else? Like relationships, I guess. We kind of hit it all. What do you want to end with, Shimon? Or how do you want to wrap this up into a bow?
I want to wrap this up. It's just about we got this one life, we got this one life to live. There are things that we got to do to hit reality straight in the face instead of hiding. And I've had to come to a lot of realizations and once I did, it helped me level up and ascend. And you who's watching this, any of these areas that we talked about, like religion leveling up, leveling up in your finances and relationships, in your feelings, in, let's say, depression, which is similar, any of the other topics in community, like this is your life. Like where is it missing, the area that you want to level up in? How can you transcend and really take it on? Because I promise you it's possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like, are you going to use life or are you going to let life use you? Do you know what I mean? Like, when are you going to just take charge and decide how your life is going to look instead of being that victim, where things just happen to you? You've got to create the happenings. You don't just respond to it. You initiate it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's two things I'd say on that is that, getting the things that you really want, or it doesn't have to be things, but getting to where you want, it's a competitive world. So not everybody's is gonna get it. So you really do have to work hard for it. The biggest and easiest excuse is to say it can't be done, or I'm not gonna get it because I'm depressed. I'm not gonna get it because I'm anxious. I'm not gonna get it because I'm ADD. I'm not gonna get it because whatever. That is you saying, the game is rigged, so I don't have to try. But in reality, you really could get it.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. Good. Well, thanks, Shimon. Thank you for sharing about leveling up. And I mean, yeah, your life is really an example of that. And it's been an inspiration to me. And I know it's an inspiration to your clients too. So keep on keeping up, man.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Carl. You're doing amazing work, and shout out to Power Fitness Online, all the women, the men that are training and bettering themselves. And God bless you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Carla. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast today. I have 3 things I want to tell you about myself. But first, please go check out my company, Power Fitness Online. PowerFitnessOnline.com or Power Fitness Online, Facebook or Instagram. What I do there is I help you. I train you so you can get fit, strong, healthy, have energy, feel good, and be at your best. Because in this life, we want to be at our best. I do, you do, we all do. So here's 3 facts about myself. Number 1, I've been a fitness trainer for 20 years. Yes, 20 years. Number 2, I'm 5'4" 3/4, not 5'4" 1/2, none of that. 5'4" 3/4. Number 3, I have 6 kids. Yes, they're all my own. None of them were twins. They're all my own. I had them one at a time, and I love my kids so much. So remember, go to powerfitnessonline.com if you want to get fit and stay fit.